Alright, Druids, let's get started. The Wolf Army build. We're going to have a giant army of wolves for Season 5. So let's go ahead and hop right into the build. So for starters, I want to go and go over kind of the newer stuff here, as that's the most important thing. So what are the new things that we have to mess around with? So we have Storm's Companion. These are some pants that got recently buffed. And this is all, by the way, footage from the PTR. But Storm's Companion is excellent. It's going to be even stronger than what you guys are seeing here because we get more attack speed with it. And then on top of that, you may not need to really get that much cooldown because we have a 77 here on the roll, but it goes up to 85% lucky hit chance for the pack leader spirit boon, which is crazy. So this is important to go over. So the spirit boon is pack leader, so it's a lucky hit where critical strikes that you deal have a chance to reset the cooldowns of your companion skills. So it's going to be up very, very frequently. So just keep on spamming on shred or on your whatever other skill that you want to activate. You can run any basic skill really, but you need to actually convert something to be werebear. So we're going to be using Maul as one of them, but it's going to give us the ability to keep on spamming our pack leader bonus, and that's what's really good with this build, because your main source of damage is your active ability. It's not just like a chill build. It's going to be something you have to push the button to get the damage, which is essentially wolves. That is what we're going to be doing. So that's the main huge buff. We also get ranks of wolves. We also get damage reduction. There's also this bonus where wolf companions are infused with the power of the storm, so then they are converted to lightning damage, and they will be gaining the storm howl ability. Now, one thing that I did note over here, since we do convert, I'm not sure if Thunderstruck is going to be working. Diablo is a game where there's constantly things that aren't applying correctly, and hopefully it will work, but if right now it's unknown, so I didn't take the node, but that is something that your damage does get converted on wolf, and then it can also have the ability to use the storm howl ability. And then on top of that, there's another newer thing that we get, which is called the Moon Rage. So how this works is when an enemy is killed, there's a chance that you'll get a wolf companion and it'll assist you for a duration. You can have a +3 additional wolves, which is a lot more damage. And then on top of that, it's going to give you +3 to wolves, and it is a lucky hit against bosses, so therefore you're going to hopefully get a bunch of these. Now, if you want to scale a little bit more into lucky hit, I guess that is technically an option, but that will significantly help you out, as more, wolves just existing is going to be more damage. So as far as the skills go and how it plays, you activate wolves for damage, you activate shred to apply the poison, as well as activate yourself to become werewolf, because you do want to be werewolf and werebear for one of the key passives, because that's how we get a lot more attack speed and damage. Then we use petrify on elites or bosses. We use ravens just to exist. We don't really need to push this button. It's kind of like a whatever. But poison creeper we do need. The reason why it's on the bar is because shepherds, as well as another thing, stampede, it just kind of helps out for more damage. And then we're running poison creeper here just to root everything, apply poison, and it's just another minion here, again, just to facilitate more bonuses. Then we are running ball. It's kind of optional what you want to play. You could throw a werebear skill here and then werewolf skill in the other area. Up to you. What do you want to run? I like Maul because it will give you more fortification, but it's up to you. Not a really big deal. Now, if you really want to, you could technically drop ravens, and if you wanted to run, let's say, debilitating roar, that's an option, but the build is already very heavy on a lot of micromanaging, because you already have to be spamming your wolves, you also have to utilize shred, but you also have to make sure that you are utilizing Maul as well as shred to convert yourself from werebear to werewolf consistently, but also maintaining the 2-second duration of its uptime to get that 15 seconds duration of one of the passives at the very end, which is quite important, called the Bestial Rampage. Otherwise, when this goes down, you do a lot less damage. It's very big because your companions will get an additional bonus on that. So that's why I decided not to throw in Roar here, but if you want to, you can throw Roar, and it already has a lot of micromanaging. Not a really chill, easy, smooth gameplay experience, just as a heads up. I mean, it does actually pretty decent damage. It's just kind of hard to micromanage all these kind of cooldowns here. And then obviously once you're in any group of an elites, activating Poison Creeper will give you more damage. So basically it just comes down to just spamming on wolves and just kind of watching some of these when they need to be up. it's only every 15 seconds, but it's sometimes when you're playing for hours on end, you'll forget to activate it. It's normal. Don't worry about it. But try to keep it up as much as you can. Then, as far as our spirit boons, we're running awareness, so damage reduction from deer. Eagle, we're getting extra crit strike chance and more life. If you have enough life, you can get extra crit strike damage, attack speed, but you're going to get so much attack speed in this build, it's probably a-okay. And then we're running pack leader, obviously, because that's what deals the damage. And then we're running masochistic, so we get extra heals. As far as the aspects, as well as uniques and gear, Harlequin and Tyrael's Might, this is going to be like on every single build going forward for the most part. Then we have the aspect of the Wild Rage over here, which will allow us to gain the bonus from the Bestial Rampage. We're also running Storm's Companion here, and if you do need resources, it's kind of up to you on what you get on your ring rolls, but for the most part, it shouldn't really be that big of a deal, because you still have Maul to kind of just activate, but if you want to get extra resources, that's fine here too. And then for our other weapon over here, we're running Stampede, so we get the additional companions, which is great. And then Wild Rage we already talked about briefly, but you're looking for basically crit strike chance, attack speed, and then your main stat, you can get life in other areas if you want to. But as far as the boots go, you definitely want to get movement speed. That's like the only important stat that is good. And then if you do need to get armor rolls, depending on what you have, you do get armor on Harlequin, but in the earlier stages you might not have the master working, so if you need to get armor somewhere, I threw one on the amulet, but if you already reach it, by all means don't worry about it. Yeah, we're going to be running Rushing Wilds. It's one of the newer ones, which gives you a bunch of movement speed. You can run this or Slaughter, it's up to you, but you definitely want Wild Rage, some sort of mobility one, or any utility, it's fine, doesn't really matter. Stampede is excellent as well. And then we are also running Spirit Bond, so this is one of the newer things. The thing is that since we run a bunch of uniques, we don't have that defensive area to throw it on, so you have to throw it on your amulet or drop it completely. So the reason why this is actually quite nice is it gives you damage reduction. This number, by the way, is actually going to be even better when we get the update. The reason why it's not updated here is, well, not every website has updated everything because the patch comes out tomorrow, and hopefully mobile will have the new update. But basically this number I believe is like 24%, but more survivability is good. But what is really nice is your companions cannot die. When you start pushing in the higher areas, we are getting a nerf to a lot of the stuff that deals damage, and it's a lot of times on the like pit bosses, especially like on the pit PTR, which was like, Pit 100 was like way harder, right? They're going to deal 66% less damage. You may be able to drop it, but just to make sure we're extra safe and everything is going to be smooth so your pets don't die, because when your pets are dead, you do no damage, which is a very bad thing. So yeah, this is good over here. You look for cooldown reduction, but honestly, you may not even really need it. On a lot of these areas, we're getting like Wolf cooldown, and the reason why we may not need it is because with the newer update with Storm's Companion, I mean, this is just up consistently with the newer buff. So I think that's going to be a pretty massive win for the build. So you may not need to get cooldown, but cooldown still can kind of help out, specifically with getting your Poison Creeper or your ultimate, but I wouldn't really worry about it too much. It's just later down the line, feel free to drop it. You can run another like offensive stat if you want, but definitely try to get ranked to Envenom. Envenom plus crit strike chance, those amulets are going to be very expensive to get, but if you can get them, cool. Without cooldown reduction, that's totally fine too. And then we are also running the aspect of the alpha, so the wolf companions are werewolf, and they deal additional damage here. If you want to run a two-hander and maybe drop like one of these, I guess that you can swap one of these out. It's not that big of a deal. And then we are also running the shepherd's aspect over here, so we get additional companions. If you want to drop this, and let's say we want to change things up here, what I think it can be a pretty good thing, we want not vulnerable damage, but it's like chance to apply vulnerability. I think that this is a very good option as well. So you can either run a cursed touch in your amulet, but you can also run it in the ring. It doesn't really matter the area here. It's just if you're running Spirit Bond, it has to be in the amulet. But you want to run 2 lucky hit chance to make enemies vulnerable, and then it's going to feel a lot smoother. If you only run one of these, the uptime is kind of iffy. On the Druid, there's not a really good source of vulnerability other than like Hurricane. So this will really help out with consistency on vulnerability to get 2 of those, or just run a Curse Touch and then drop Spirit Bond. Again, it's up to you. And then we are running Moon Rage Aspect. So I already went over this effect, but this is where we get the extra wolves when we kill something. It's great. That's how we build up our army, and it becomes way more fun. So as far as the rolls on our pieces of gear, we can run 2 different things. So on the offensive category, we want wolves damage or wolves attack speed. And then also we can look at chance to deal poison. There's not a really good weapon aspect here. You can also get critical strike chance for like your werewolf skill. Like you can do like shred, and that's going to be good because when we crit, we are going to be able to obviously get the companion skill. But I feel like it's up enough. You can run whatever. It's really not that big of a deal. Run whatever you want. Heck, you can even throw in Blurred Beast probably if you want to. The weapon here is very, very flexible, but the aspect, you definitely want it. So, unfortunately, not too much room for just throwing in another, like, unique. But as far as the gems, it's kind of like the generic ones, emerald, rubies, and then we're running diamonds, just to max out resistances. But resistances are pretty easy on Druid anyways, it's not a big deal. Plus, Tyraos is getting 60% resistance to all elements, so it's like a joke. Resistance is no longer a thing that you need. And then moving into the skill tree. So as far as the skill tree goes, first 2 points, like I said, I like Maul. If you want to put another point to get the increased range, that's fine too. Then running Shred, we're going to be applying Poison. But if you want to run Primal Shred, that's fine too. Remember, Shred doesn't deal damage. It's just to be in werewolf form. Then we're running Indigitate Great, so more movement speed, more damage reduction. And then we're running Predatory Instinct, so we get some more crit. Then we're running 2 points into this. If you happen to need another point, it's no big deal. Throw it in another point there. Brutal Wolves, so maxing out Wolves, this is our damage, so all the points into Wolves, we're getting Nature's Reach. This one is optional. How it will work, because it only works on distance, so it only activates on your like Wolves skill, but that's fine, because your Wolves are the only thing that deal damage anyways. But you yourself, you don't do damage. And remember, there's a companion build, so more companion damage, better. Poison Creeper, more crit. And then running in Brutal Ravens just for extra Ravens for some more companions. And then Mending, it's just like there's a few extra skill points here. You can drop this if you want to. It's just like you have more max life. And then Neurotoxin and Venom. And Venom is one of the best things that the Druid class has. And then Toxic Claws. And then we're running Petrify. If you want to, you could technically drop this and run Debilitating Roar. This is another great option if you do need more survivability. But since the bosses are dealing 66% less damage and you have all these minions, the build had really good survivability. That really wasn't the issue. It was more so that I didn't like the boss fight with this build. If you guys saw the boss fight earlier, I mean, it was a Pit 100 on the PTR, which was way overscaled. They're going to be reducing the boss's HP by a significant amount. They said in World Tier 4, the content is going to go from plus 30,000 HP to plus 6,000, which is like divided by 5. So that's a pretty big difference in HP. So I think this build will probably play a lot smoother once we get that update. But this is more of a fun build than anything. I still want to say Landslide probably the top tier build, but if you like playing other things, and this is actually not a bad build at all. It's actually a really good build. It's just that it requires so many different micromanagement that it does become a little bit difficult to play, just as like a warning to it. So we're running max out Quick Shift, Fortitude, Heightened Senses. If you get any of these in your amulet, that's totally cool too, if you can. And then you could drop, let's say, cooldown reduction. Then Bestial Rampage is excellent because, well, you're going to get this. So this is why you have to like activate Werewolf, Werebear. You get 30% attack speed, which I believe is doubled for your companions. And then after being Werebear, we get X50, increased damage for 15 seconds. So yeah, it's a pretty big extra source of stats. Now let's move on to the Paragon board. And let's also make it bigger because I know the Paragon board is kind of difficult to see. So for the starters, we are going to be running Keeper because this is going to be companions. And then we are going to go into Heightened Malice, Fang, and Claw. So while we're in Werewolf, Werebear, more damage over there. And then we are going to be going into Inner Beast with Wilds because, well, the passive portion of the companions will get even stronger. And then we are going to go into Survival Instincts and get Territorial. So we're going to get some damage reduction over there. And then we can move into Constricting Tendrils here with specifically Spirit. Oh, dang, it's kind of so big it's going off the screen here. Here we go. So crit strikes will take, means the enemy will take some more damage because we're scaling crit anyways. And then we are in Earthen Devastation with Exploit, so we can still apply the vulnerability before our little like thing activates, so it's still really nice to have this. But honestly, if you do want to drop this, that's totally fine. Again, our Curse Touch is a great thing. And then we are also running Ancestral Guidance on our last one over here and no Glyph on the last one. But like I mentioned before with the note with like the bonus to lightning damage, as it was something that we don't know if it will work properly with it, you could drop this exploit and then you would then just get that other one. So let me go ahead and actually show that off really quick, as I feel like that is something important. But that's something that I'm gonna have to update you guys on, and again, I'll let you guys know. It's this right here where it says Storm Scales deal increased damage equal to 20x. And again, if it's converting it, it should in theory work. But again, with Diablo, there's a lot of bugs and things. It just may not work with like a companion or something like that for whatever reason. It may not gain the tag, or it may gain the tag and things simply don't work. There's a lot of skills where it would convert the damage, but it didn't work. And they have been patching these things out. My assumption is they will eventually patch it out. Like Twister was broken for I don't know how many seasons. It took us until season 5 to get that glyph fix. So if this is broken and does not work, I didn't put it in the build because I'm unsure if it works or it doesn't work with the brand new updated new pants, because sometimes when they update a unique, some other thing breaks, just like if anyone's, coded or did HTML, one thing breaks something else, whatever. So if that does get changed, you can drop the exploit and throw that one in. But that's going to go ahead and wrap up the companion druid build. Let me know, guys, if you've played it, what you think of it. I think it's kind of fun. It's just a cool thing to see, like an army of wolves, like kind of just go in. It feels really, really awesome. But anyways, that's going to wrap things up. If there's any updates or changes to the build, I will update you guys, and check the pin for the entire planner. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn the bell if you want to see more Diablo builds very soon and other gaming content. I'll catch you guys in the next one, and everything will be pinned down below, so check for timestamps and all that other good stuff. But peace out.